All right, we are live, yeah, on the air. Going to do a little dharma teaching, and we're coming up along an anniversary of 9/11. Yeah, everybody remembers 9/11. Yeah, and at that time we were going through a lot of stuff around computers. You know, getting to 2000, going to have a shutdown on all electricity, all banks, everything's going to be haywire. It's going to get real weird, you know, and and there was a lot of other things. 2013, we're supposed to all just go into the infinite, and all time and space would be over with, according to the Mayans, you know. So we had a lot of things coming up that, you know, in the minds of humanity, they actually thought those things is what's going on. Yeah, the end of the earth, maybe the second coming, you know, but mainly, you know, how are we going to fix the computers to be able to adapt to the year 2000 when they only work up to 1999? You know, how do we do that? Yeah, and you know, and what will be the results from that? Because we depend on that so much in every single way, and we're just beginning. In 1990, you know, 1980s, 1990s, the end of the 1990s, we were moving through the process of self-education, where we were beginning, you know, through aspiration and soul and all that. All of a sudden we got the Apple computer, and we got, you know, Commodore, and we got games, and that was all great. But then again, we wanted a business. We wanted to make an income. We wanted to make a difference in the quality of what we put out. Books, writing, you know, things like that. And computers really do make that difference. You know, they make it a lot easier for you. And you can copy, cut, paste, you know, that's a whole lot faster than type. You know, you can talk to the computer, it's a whole lot faster than type. You know, so the advent of this program, this process, was very soulful for humanity. And a lot was coming in that is very, very soulful for humanity. But we're not aware of the fact that there's an ongoing process going on inside the system of society that endangers us. You know, the let's imagine in the 80s, you know, we have a country called Afghanistan. Yeah, and Afghanistan is the leading producer of heroin. You know, 75 to 80% on a planetary scale. You know, they grow it. They grow the opium poppy seed. You probably seen it on the History Channel, things like that. But it's a fact. It's true. You know, so a lot of economy was happening in Afghanistan due to opium, and that was beginning to be developed as an infrastructure, a way in which they're going to make their actual economy. You know, because there was war and there was all kinds of things going on keeping them from carrying out any kind of economy. And they couldn't go into the future because they were Muslims. And, you know, at that time, there was a lot of clerics in the Muslim religion that was rewriting the book of the Muslim, you know, and saying things that aren't true, exaggerating things that you will get for doing certain things, benefiting you for being a Muslim, you know, and how you can change the world by your behavior, because it's said in this book. It's said in the book you should do this. Said in the book you should sacrifice your life. Said in the book you're going to get all these, you know, lifestyle cycles coming in after death, to where you'd be like, you know, being anointed with every possible pleasure you can imagine. Yeah, and yeah, and that's not in the book. It's not in the book. It's nowhere in the book. Not in one page is it in the book. Yeah, if you read the book, it's a pretty dang good book. Yeah, if you read it. Yeah, it's about God. It's about soul. It's about humanity. It's about the awakening within humanity through purity, through kindness, through caring, through justice, and through truth. Now, that's the basic principle of a Muslim. You know, the book that they read, that's the basic principle from page after page after page after page. Yeah. But then, you know, you get these clerics who say, oh, but I read into the book. I am a prophet too. I too receive messages. I too have, I could see the politics of the time, and therefore these are the causes of those political problems. You know, they're due to Muslim inactivity. We haven't purified the earth. There are heretics out there. And then they started naming, you know, countries and other religions, and, you know, through that, you know, process of clerics in that religion and in the Catholic religion, they did the same thing. They go and grab people and say, you're a witch, or you're in with Satan, you know, or whatever, you know, you're a heretic, you know, and, you know, you have to rewrite the freaking book to be a heretic in Christianity, because it is a process of forgiveness and love. How do you find a heretic? What the heck? How does that even exist? Yeah? You know, so it's got to be rewritten, and all this stuff is rewritten. So in that process, that leads people to be a very unhealthy, even though they have soul, and we're in a world of the soul. We have all kinds of things coming to aspire our soul. But we could be afraid of those things. We can think that those things are you know, like not from God, and that they're there to torment us and lead us into temptation. Yeah. And so people who are very religious and very dogmatic take those tendencies, you know, as though they are the religion, as though they are what goes on. And so they have to imagine the Muslim heretics, you know, the women wearing their veils, and the men behaving the way they do with the women, you know, and that the women, no, you can't drive, no, you can't have a driver's license, no, you can't go to college, no, you can't do this, that, no, no, none of you can have internet, none of you can have a telephone, none of you can have, you know, because it's against Allah. You know, where in the book does it say that? You know, of course they had no telephones at that time, but holy moly, you know, come on, you know, this is supposed to be about evolution. It's supposed to be about the betterment of the soul. And that's really what, you know, whether it be you're a Jew or you're a Christian or whatever religion you are in relationship to God inside the original teachings, it has to do with your ability to understand and be able to complement, you know, the better side of a person and forgive the bad side of a person, you know, and understand that. In the Bible, it's all based on that. And in all the, whether it be a Jew or whether it be a Muslim or whether it be a Buddhist, it's all based on that. You know, but that is completely misinterpreted. So we have large majorities of our society are religious. Large majority. And they're religious not according to the, you know, where it comes from. You know, like Christ, you know, they're not religious according to Jesus being here, telling them and talking to them and blessing them and healing them. It's about, you know, them believing in a particular system or a belief system. Yeah, you know, so that takes a lot of the sixth ray, a lot of devotion. And when people are becoming soulful, you know, if you want to keep a person away from their soul, you tell them they're a sinner. You know, you create a religion, and you manifest that religion in a way in which it interprets separation, you know, from one religion to the next. This religion's better than that last religion. Lutheran's much better than Baptist. Baptist much better than Catholic. Catholic much better than Protestant. Protestant much better, you know. I mean, come on, you know. And all of that is just based on our interpretation, the cleric or the priest or whoever it is that is interpreting, you know, what it is we got. So that leaves us as society, it leaves us rented, unhealthy, spiritually lost. If you're a Muslim, you're spiritually lost. If you're a Christian, you're spiritually lost. If you're a Jew, you're spiritually lost. And yet, you're in the religions of God. What is going on? How is that possible? And that's because the way it's interpreted, it screws people up. It literally becomes temptation toward the things you shouldn't be doing. You know, just like in Muslims, they say, oh, after you die, you do this bad thing after you die, you're going to get all the pleasures you can ever imagine for infinity. Yeah, and you'll stay young, and you'll stay healthy, and you're going to have beautiful everything. Yeah, and yet, in their as a monk or as a priest or as a highly religious spiritual person, you give these things up. You give up drinking, you give up drugs, you give up the pleasures in life. You think that are pleasures, and they're really not pleasures. They're a waste of time. They're selfish. Yeah. And, you can get through life having pleasure without going that direction, going that heavy into it. Yeah. But you suppress that. You say, okay, you create a fake religion. Yeah. And you do the same with Catholics. You got all those priests out there who are homosexual. And then in the beginning of it, you say homosexual is something you can't do. One thing you cannot do is be homosexual. But yet the priests are homosexual. And they say these negative things about this and that, but in reality, they're carrying out the very thing we're not supposed to be doing. So it becomes temptation inside the aura. Temptation, oh, well, I guess the best way to be a Muslim is to be a terrorist, so I can go off to paradise. Surefire way to get there. Or think of myself as a Jew, and constantly remind myself of Hitler, and constantly remind myself of Moses and being out in the desert for 40 years and all this crap. Constantly remind myself of that stuff, and that is not the truth. Has nothing to do with anything, but it is a way to keep us in our solar plex, keep us emotional, and yet this is the majority of the human race. There's a lot of people who don't believe in God and just are, in their agnostic state, but they've got their things, And the other ones are people who are in that state, trying to seek some kind of spiritual healing or spiritual awareness, And then they've got this coming at them, So that creates an unhealthy society. So then on top of that, you've got, like Arabia, and it finds out it's got oil, a lot of oil, and everybody wants oil, so that makes you a gazillionaire, and you can't even leverage how much wealth is in these people's hands, you can't even leverage it, you can't even consider it. You can go, okay, Buffett is so wealthy, and Trump is supposedly so wealthy, and this and that is so wealthy. You can measure it. But in Saudi Arabia, you can't measure it. They make themselves kings. They're measured by being God. That they're so blessed by Allah. And everything in that book says, don't fall for it. Don't fall for it. Live a simple life. Don't go for it. Don't do anything like that. This is our true life. It is forever, for history. It is what we are. It's what we will be. It's what we have been. But on the good side, on the bad side, you got all the bad people, the kings and others who enslave people and all of that. And as time goes on, they become that. The Saudi Arabia, they enslave anybody who comes to work for them. You don't really get paid. And what happens is that it's so illusionary, delusionary, You think you're going to, wow, look at all that. Look at the size of these buildings. Look at all this. But it's hell. It's hotter than hell. It's horrifying. It's horrible. It's a terrible place to be. But just because they can, they build cities there. They even build cities in the middle of the ocean, making islands so that they don't pay tax, so that they don't own land. They can just make it. Now all of a sudden they're super rich because they've expanded the country into the land, and land that didn't exist before now does exist, so that means it's real estate. That's like, magic in money ways, And they think like that. Everything is all about money. So they've got this twisted spiritual program going on, And at the same time, they're the wealthiest people on the planet, And then they're the backers of the people of Afghanistan who makes opium, So the whole thing, if you think of terrorism, if you think of all of the problems that are over there, what happened to 9/11? What led us to 9/11? Yeah, was Saudi Arabia. It wasn't Pakistan. It wasn't Afghanistan. It was Saudi Arabia. Every single person who came through 9/11 and destroyed the buildings and were terrorists, all came from Saudi Arabia. Yeah, even the guy who was in charge of it comes from Saudi. He was one of the richest people of Saudi Arabia. His family is very wealthy. They're part of the wealthiest people on the planet. And they're in a club. They hang out in clubs. Bush is part of it. The old President Bush, you know. So I'm going to show you something. This is a collection of what is found within the CIA and within the inner kind of real reality of what happened and what went on prior to 9/11, what people knew but didn't say. Didn't tell anybody, but they knew it. Yeah? They knew a lot. They knew how it was going to happen, where it was going to happen, when it was going to happen, to the point. They knew the day it was going to happen, and they knew it was going to happen. One of them was going to be the Pentagon. So major people in charge at the Pentagon decided to cancel all their flights on that day. Yeah? That's no coincidence. That's inner knowledge. Yeah? That's understanding, you know? And they probably didn't show up at work either. Yeah? Yeah? And a lot of things. This is a spiritual, psychic, evil thing. And evil is involved in this process. Yeah? And it conjures up circumstances, you know. How is it possible? All these things, 9/11, you know, the towers, what goes on in those towers, what was happening on that day in those towers, what events were going on around this thing that no one even thinks is involved in this thing, but it is. You know, how is it possible 15 to 18 terrorists from Saudi Arabia fly into Florida? Yeah? And they get their papers, you know, how am I going to get a visa? Well, you gotta sign this, you gotta fill it out, you gotta tell us your name, you gotta give us all this information, we gotta check you out before you cross this green line. Yeah? It happens for everybody. Everybody. Yeah. You know? And you would think in America, you know, coming from Saudi Arabia or something like that, you might want to double check a few things. You know? Like make sure this is the person who I'm speaking to. You know? Make sure every single one of them is their true name. Yeah? Come to find out, not one of them was it their true name. Not one of them. Yeah? And all the people with those true names were hanging out in Arabia, and their names are on the TV, and the people are looking for them, you know, and they're like, oh shit, oh no, I wasn't even there, I was at work, you know. Now, all of them, yeah. And one of them actually, many of them, actually went through a process within the military, within the Air Force, yeah, in Florida, and took flight training. And that's how they got to the place they were at. And that person was the leader of the terrorists that was going to help all of them get through their flight school and carry out this process. Yeah, and this is all known inside the CIA and the FBI. It's all known. Names, everything is known. Yeah? And the more people who knew, the more they were harassed to the point that we were fired. Because they knew too much. Yeah? They knew it was bin Laden. Yeah, but you can't say it's bin Laden because we love bin Ladens. The CIA paid for bin Laden, put him through school, created his terrorist organization in the 80s. They paid for it. Yeah? And they were warned at the time, you're creating a Frankenstein. This is not good. This guy doesn't need your money, doesn't need your support. Yeah? But he created a terrorist group. And that terrorist group became the Al-Qaeda. All the time we have a problem with the Al-Qaeda. Yeah? And this all comes right now. We're in a process where a country is being taken over by terrorist groups that is taken over in Pakistan. And everything leads to this particular reality. All of it comes down to that they get this back, they get that country back, we step away, all that, because we're being disempowered by a process of delusion and illusion that is manifested between the CIA and the FBI. And that's strange. That's strange. You wouldn't want to think like that. Yeah, and they're not like in cahoots doing something bad. They're just not spiritually integrated. They're not able to discern, and this is the CIA. They're not able to discern, discriminate, because they're in league against each other. FBI is against the CIA. CIA is against the FBI. What information you have, I want to take from you. Well, I'm not going to give it to you. Well, then I'll steal it from you. I'll put spies in the CIA. Well, that doesn't make a good relationship. Yeah? And we're supposed to deal with life, with the CIA and all this information that comes in so we can not have a 9/11. Yeah? And other things that may happen, like nuclear holocausts in the land of the free here in America. Yeah? Because blow up just a few nuclear power plants, just a few. Yeah? You'd be making more havoc than you'd ever imagine. And that's all, if you study the CIA information that they do get from Arabia, just Arabia, because it all stems from Arabia. And everything else is just under Arabia. Yeah? All the Muslim clergy and everything stems from Arabia. It goes out to Iran, it goes out to Iraq, it goes out to Pakistan, goes out to all these different places. But the money comes from Arabia. The kings are in Arabia. Yeah? These are the powerhouses. Yeah? And they wield, because sex and money magic is the power of Satan. And they do not care. They're so selfish. I mean, we're here in America and we think, wow, if you behave like that, you're fired. Even if Trump is the way he is and he's molested and he's done what he's done, at least he's put up against a court. At least we question it. At least we say, shit, man, wrong. But no, you can't say that in Saudi Arabia. You can't. You buy your way through it. It is all Satan. It's all hell. Yeah? And that means that in a very large way, these are very hostile dictators that are doing things to create things and create separation throughout the world, hostility and separation. So that here, I'm going to show you this. I collected a bunch of stuff, which is mainly information about the end of the 1980s, go through the 1990s, getting to the end of 1998, 95, 98, going into the year 2000, 2001, where we get really close to the process that this is coming down, and we get so much information about how it's going to come down, where it's going to come down, who it's going to come down on. 3 different locations that specifically were the ones they hit. Yeah? And they did it prior, but no one remembers it. They did this whole thing before. Yeah? They in '84, they shot a plane into Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. Yeah? And another one in another location. And it was all terrorist, all Saudi Arabia. Yeah? And it keeps going back to the point, how did they get across the border? Yeah, because when we investigated, and it's only happening now because Biden took off all the blinders between CIA and FBI and took out all the information in putting together a committee to reinvestigate 9/11 and terrorism. Yeah, because there's lots to be seen and lots that's been covered up. Yeah, and we have no idea where the origin of this shit's coming from. Yeah, and we need to not have relationships with those origins. Yeah, the funding of terrorism is Saudi Arabia. the funding of terrorism, the creation of terrorism. It makes them money. It creates chaos in the world. It allows them to be who they are. And they are so evil. And everything is so bad in the whole world. Pirates and all that, going on in everybody's country. We haven't got time to deal with Saudi Arabia and its evil. We haven't got time with it. We can't straighten them out, stop making oil, do something else. Put your money toward producing solar and wind and eradicating poverty throughout the world, all these different things. But no, there is no hope in that process. They are in another league. And that league is planting seeds in people and manifesting those seeds into destruction. The only thing that happens in terrorism, it creates terror. It creates fear that doesn't exist. Here this comes down, and all of a sudden, then for another 5 or 6 or 7 years, everybody's going, I'm not flying. I'm not flying. Do you remember what it was like in the year 2000? When was the last? How long it took for people to begin flying again? 2 and 3 years before we'd begin. And right after that, just a year and a half after that, there started getting people envelopes of very bad poisons, that would come in envelopes to people. And it was actually a terrorist process. Come to find out, those poisons were from government locations. Stolen from government locations through terrorism. Nothing gets put together. No one said anything. No one learns about it. None of us become aware of the level in which terrorism is polluting our airwaves, polluting our life. Check this out. The outcome is nuclear holocaust. If you don't know, it's not about money, it's not about oil. It's about hate and separation and keeping the nuclear bombs active. Keep us at a place of hate and separation so much. And this is all psychicism. All the way back to 1994. They knew this was all coming down. This becomes a really big thing in 1996. And we're going, wow, we really got to watch it. But our problem is that our president, Bush, is the best buddy to the bin Laden family and Arabs. Best friend. They are in league together. They're part of a group. You'll see this. They were going to turn bin Laden in. And they said, no thanks. So because the CIA is the one who backs this thing, they're not going to come forth and give information about people that they've been backing, because it'll come back on them. And these are all the people that were the terrorists in 9/11. They were on the planes. Meet with bin Laden family on behalf of the Carlyle Group. That's the biggest, most richest group that runs the world. And who's in that? Bin Laden. The military conducts exercises focused upon the White House using hijacked airliners, using them as weapons, creating casualties. This is a war exercise, and yet it's a real thing that does take place. Back off. Back off. Don't investigate anybody who runs the Carlyle Group. Visa Express. Visa Express, yeah. Imagine these guys got through Visa Express, right? But their process is that most of their paperwork was wrong. It wasn't filled out right. And even though it was Visa Express, I mean, how the hell did they get a Visa Express? You know? Yeah. It was set up. And that's a weird thing to have to say. They went 6 trips to Las Vegas. Now, these are Muslims. Muslims, right? Why are they going to Las Vegas, folks? Girls, booze, drugs, girls, drugs, girls, drugs, alcohol. They're Muslims. They're already on their way to paradise. Yeah. The whole Muslim thing is out the door. Now they're in with Satan. And paradise is where Satan says you're going to go. So don't worry about not doing it. Start doing it. You're on your way. You're a terrorist. You know, you're going to go blow yourself up. Yeah. This is over a few weeks of time. 6 trips they went to Las Vegas. Now, you know, in our previous president, Trump, we know that it was these Arabs who bailed him out. It was these Arabs who bailed out his son-in-law. Paid for 666. The building 666. Who owns a building called 666? But some satanic front. Yeah. And it can't make any money. No one wants to live in 666. I have a business in 666. So the guy's got a hole, just a hole in the ground that just drops money into it. So the Arabs rented everything. And they did that everywhere. Yeah, they did that in Ireland. They did that in Panama. They did that in America. They follow this shit. You're going to see it. that the people known as Trump have been involved in this process of working with this energy, to influence their ability to work within the United States. So they would take the money from them and they would support that money and bring that into what happens. So, and another weird thing, odd coincidence, is that all of this happens in Florida. And where does our lovely president live? In his White House in Florida. And he's not even president anymore, and he's still got a White House. And every single one of these guys went through Florida, tried to get trained in Florida. One even went through a military school in Florida. So there's something going on. So what you're going to find out, because all this information is coming out, it's been held, behind weird doors, up till today, and now it's going to start coming out. Movies are going to start coming out. Books are going to start coming out. People are going to start facilitating, and making a lot of things known so that we won't do the things we did before. Look at this. The Attorney General finds out about it, knows that they're coming, knows that it's going to happen in an airplane. They're going to take an airplane. They're going to use those airplanes as terrorist bombs and attack America. So nobody in the Pentagon wants to go flying. The Attorney General is not getting on a plane. It had to be a private plane. They ain't going on a commercial plane. They know this shit, but they're not telling the airlines. They're not telling the public. They're not warning anybody. Why? Money. Money. It's just like, why is it we wouldn't warn everybody that a volcano is erupting and everything is going to go all to hell? Because people in the town are saying, hey, business is good. We don't need that. We can't do that. No, you don't say shit. And in the last 10 minutes, everybody's screaming. And we're running for cover. And that's where we're at. We're in that process where, there is this fine line around God. We need God. CIA needs God. Muslims need God. Jesus freaks need God. Buddhists need God. Without God, and the problem is that they don't connect to God. They think it's vengeance or violence or injustice they're writing. And God doesn't do that. So even in the CIA, they're fighting inside their spiritual quadrants, their black magic inside them, that they're living in their life. They're having a hard day. They're not able to have a relationship. They're losing all in their life. They're caught up in money and greed and fame. And they're head of the CIA or president of the United States. It's all because they're not with God. They're not with God. And I'm telling you, behind the scene is really scary shit. Because we're in a computer age. We're in a technological age. We're in an age of nuclear possibilities on all levels. We have waste that is underground. No one wants to know it's there. And it's near waterways. No one wants to know it's there. Under caverns, no one wants to know where. And it's leaking. And it's got a lifetime to it. Like maybe 500 years and the barrels start cracking. All that kind of stuff is going on. Terrorists know that shit. They know it. And anything that could do with causing more havoc, even putting out, a virus, is a possibility within this realm of our world. And we don't get to know about it till much later, what really happened. and how many people suffered, and how much is going on that's making us suffer. And we don't have to suffer. All we need is God. That's all we need. Yeah? Yeah, so all of these people in the CIA and the FBI, they're not non-religious people. They got God in them, but they can't get God to manifest in their mind. Yeah? In the circumstance. They can't get the will of God to manifest outside themselves because they don't have the faith. They can't hold the integrity. Yeah? And then they've got FBI saying one thing, and you're the CIA, now you got to play spy, and you're not here to be spy inside of our own government. It shouldn't be like that, but it is like that. Why? Because people lie, deceive, have power struggles. Yeah? It's not with God. God changes that whole thing, and it actually unveils dangers that are coming your way by opening up communications. We have such an enormous blessing going into the world, enormous blessing. We have the technologies, we have the advancements, we have everything coming into the world, but all those things could be used against us. Yeah, everything can be used against us. Yeah, the key is God, because God's creating, performing, manifesting, what it is that we have in our life. Even making nuclear power, making, the science behind the nuclear bomb. It was an awareness process. We were in a state of evolution. We're sooner or later bound to reach this point. How do we deal with it? How do we handle it? Do we go out and start making nuclear bombs? Yeah, if you study it, the making of the nuclear bomb, there were two things going on simultaneously at the same time. One group was saying, we got to make a nuclear bomb because that's what Germany's doing. And we got to defend ourselves from Germany and their nuclear bombs. Another group, same physicists, are going, we need to make reactors, nuclear reactors. We need to learn about nuclear. Yeah. We need to see what else comes from it rather than a bomb. So there was this open-minded process, and that's why we got electricity, nuclear reactors, things like that, because everything wasn't about just putting it on the end of a nuclear bomb and blowing up the world. Everything has its positive side. Everything has an opportunity to be God's plan. Yeah, but in this process, what we have is greed. What we have is black magic. Yeah, we have influences that come into play that have to do with our glamours and our lack of ability to discern, discriminate. So it's not just about lying. It's about saying something that keeps the illusion going. Yeah, like CIA. How long would that go on? How long? We are now in the year 2021. This happened in the year 2000 what? 2001? Yeah? That's a long time ago. And we still haven't come up with it. And only by accident did we find Saddam Hussein. He was living in the city. It was hard not to find him. Everybody knew him in the city because he was in a freaking city. Not hanging in a cave someplace where they all said, well, we can't find him because he's in a cave, and they go from cave to cave, and there's no way of knowing what cave they're in at what time. That's what they always said. But it's not true. The man lived in a city, which was easy to follow. Yeah? So that's why when you read this, you'll see that there was a lot of countries who are willing to give up Saddam Hussein. Point out, this is the address he's at. Come and get his ass. A lot of them. But our country said, no, not right now. We're not sure that information is viable. Yeah, we can't verify it. Yeah, so we're not going to go with that. Yeah, and just let it carry on. And what it carry on more toward is the reality of the fact that there is, this process of us being under the influence of so much greed, so much corruption. And we do not have the identity. We can't say, oh, it's the Arabs, oh, no, it's the Muslims. Is it? Is it? It's hard to say exactly where it's coming from. Yeah? The influence of all that's going on has absolutely to do with our chakras. Absolutely. Yeah? Because we have glamours inside of our nations. We have glamours inside of ourselves. Everything that we have going on is a part of a glamour. Yeah? We can't pick it out. So without God, you don't get the teaching. You don't get the understanding that is needed. Yeah, they all go to the Bible, or they all go to the Quran, or they all go to the Quran, or they all go to all these different things, and they think through that knowledge, they're going to get the answer. They're gonna find what God wants to say to them, but that's misinterpreted. Yeah, and the process is that everything needs to have the elimination of the glamours. Yeah. And it's in the glamours, and here, Bush is full of freaking glamours, So how are we gonna get past that? Yeah, the people who's working for Bush were full of glamours. Condoleezza Rice, all these different people, filled with glamours, and therefore they couldn't communicate and share. They kept information to themselves. We all do it. Everybody does shit like that, yeah, because they have a strong personality. Anybody in these positions have strong personalities. And those strong personalities they hold on to what they got. And they don't like to share it. They put it in boxes, they put it in safes, they pull it out as a wild card, in order to make favor. I've got that information you wanted. Yeah. But only when it lends to their fulfillment. Yeah. And it doesn't matter if you're president or what. What's this guy going to this incredibly rich organization group and been with the bin Laden family, and at the same time 9/11's coming down. What happened after 9/11? The bin Laden family was flown with escort of the FBI from Arabia to Texas, held in Texas for 2 weeks so that they can relax, in a safe house, and then taken from there to Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. This is a matter of fact, and you're all going to find out this is all true. And yet, how can it be true? How can it be true? Yeah? Because we're in two worlds. The world of evil, delusions, lies, corruptions. You never get to know what's going on there. But we live out the suffering from it. All the drugs and opiums throughout the world comes from this movement. And it's being maintained. What about Panama? Yeah, remember back in Panama? There was this crazy guy down there in Panama, and he had all the drugs cocaine that you can think of. Yeah? Colombia, Panama, everything was running through this guy. And he was like the biggest of all the Colombian bad guys. But yet, he was working for the CIA. And that came out, This is, during the time of, I think, Tricky Dick, And when all that was coming down, come to find out, oh shit, we're actually receiving money from this guy selling cocaine. Well, we're also getting the same off of opium. And we're getting the same off of everything. Yeah? There's every single thing that goes on in the evil process of the world is to weaken humanity. To move people into a process to where like opium, how many people are on the street in New York on opium? How many all throughout the United States are drugged out on opium, And how many people in other countries are drugged out on opium? Yeah? And all of that is a process of, this is being in mind, in idea, in purpose. It's being created in order to make a weaker world. Yeah? Make it impossible for us to have chakras. Impossible for us to move on from one initiation to the next. Discern, discriminate things that might be going on around us. This is a big, wild-ass world. There is governing that needs to take place, but without God, there is no governing. Yeah? All there is what it is. It is what it is. And there's no governing in it. Yeah? Because there's so much on the outside of it doing what it's doing, creating glamours. Yeah? And those glamours become the temptation in anything you do, whether it be your interest in life, the books you read, or the movies you may watch, or any of that. That's why so many people are interested in vampires, and so many people are interested in hot rod, fast car movies, you know? Yeah? All the bad shit. Really stupid stuff. You know? One right after another. Mad Max, and then, another Mad Max, and then another, bad ad movie of people beating up each other, shooting each other, chasing each other, screaming at each other as though, and these are cops. They're the good guys. And yet cops really, in real reality, they don't do that. In real reality, we don't have the violence that you see in movies. In real reality. But we ask for it. Yeah? We want to see it. We're actually conjuring it, invoking it, paying for it, creating industries in order to feed it to us. Because it's not real. It's not happening. Not really happening. It's happening enough for us to think, oh my God, what they show in movies is so real. So then everybody wants to be bad. Everybody wants to be the mean kind of person with the tattoos on the arm, going down the arm, on both arms, on their legs and around their neck or whatever, just simply because that's what it looks like when you've been in prison for a little while. Yeah? And since you're not in prison, but yet you are in prison, yeah, you are in this psychic web that's manifesting glamours into people. And they're bad ways of lifestyle. Yeah? And it affects all of our lifestyle to the point to where we're homeless, we're on drugs, we're drinking, and we're smoking. That's a lifestyle. That is not reality. It's not reality. Yeah? And in our world, in this world, we're in a world where God is blessing us, and more people are not smoking, more people are not drinking, more people are not doing the things that are part of the vices because they're blessed. They're blessed out of those things. Yeah? But to be blessed, you have to be given this kind of information so you don't get caught up in the bullshit reasoning as to why all this hell is going on. Yeah? A 20-year war? And you're upset that we're ending it? What? You just want to be upset. You just want to be dramatic. You're all actors, directors, writers. Yeah? And since that's what you do, just look at the films that are being published for you. Because that's your aura. That's your desire body. And if you didn't watch them and you went, oh, I cannot stand another movie of chase and kill and shoot and run into people's houses and grab their kids and kill them and scare them with monsters and vampires and The Walking Dead on TV on 4 channels? Come on. Really? Been there for what, 10 years now? Yeah? The Walking Dead? Yeah? Guys, and I mean, oh my God, the shit that you got going on is all coming out of your solar plex. It's all showing itself to you. Because that's what you're going to spend your time. You're going to go to the movie, you're going to pay your money, you're going to sit down, and you're going to watch, gargoyles and Draculas and whatever, thinking this is a good thing. But it's coming out of your solar plex. It's your desire body. Because you can see it. You can see the change in our system. You can watch movies. And in all these production companies, they're either stealing from another company and making the same movie in different production companies, and all the same on TV is stupid, bubblegum, idiot, really stupid stuff. I mean, I love Beaver. I love, all the things that we had back in the 60s when our solar plex was new to TV, new to movies. So we didn't project. Yeah? But what we got projected at us was, Frankenstein and, all these monster movies that you didn't think, oh, I want to see that. You got hit by it. And you go in, you go, oh, I can handle it. I can take it. And that's the way you did it. You'd be holding your hands over your eyes and going, la, 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 and you made it through it. And then you go, okay, I did do it. And your friend would say, yeah, you're la, la all day long, you never really did. Okay, I'll go back and I'll watch it again, But then you got to go watch a comedy right afterwards. Because psychologically, it's ruining you. It's ruining you. And after a while, all this time, you think you can handle it. So now tattoos, and now, you're jumping out of planes, and, you're thinking skydiving is the right thing to do. I'm going to do 200 until I die. Well, you probably won't make it to 200, and you will probably die doing it. All the things that we are moved to do that are so far from our spiritual inclinations, meditation, mindfulness, kindness, generosity, right livelihood, that takes a lot of effort. Day to day, every day, it takes a lot of effort. You got to get to know yourself. You got to attain self-realization. You got to live in self-actualization. That's mindfulness. Getting to know your true self. Finding out you don't need all the things your lower mind wants, because you're listening to everybody else. And you can't control that lower psychic energy. And it is so prevalent inside of human beings, is the psychic energy that we have no idea that controls us. It runs our everyday life. So we need to work within the field of what God teaches. And it's very simple. It's very, it's mindfulness, it's meditation, it's effort. It is how it is you make your money, how it is you do your life. What do you do when you wake up in the morning? How long does it take for you to wake up in the morning? Do you lay in bed for all day? Mindfulness. Every day gives you something to think about for yourself, to think about how to make yourself a better person, how to make yourself stronger, how to make yourself healthier. How to completely dematerialize aging, how to switch off things that are constantly switching on, because our mind is wrong, our emotions are wrong, our psychic influences are wrong, because our chakras are not awake. And without our awake chakras, we cannot share into humanity the governing body of Christ. Everything has to be governed. Everything. It's not under a control thing. It's under God. It's under love. It's governed by love. The will of love is far greater than the will of hate. It's just that it's 10,000 times harder to practice the will of love. But if you keep practicing it, you got all these stages you can go through in the process, and focus on meditation to relax, so you dispel the inner glamour, so that you're not reacting to those influences. And that's how we govern the world. That's how we change the world. That's how we wake up people in the CIA and the FBI, and they go, okay, I got to give you this information. I can't sleep tonight. I can't live like this. That's Christ. Conscience. Yeah, the will of God over your will. That's a good thing. That's a really good thing. And that's the only way we're going to solve this thing. Because there are people that know they have money and they think that it comes from God, and it's Satan. And they are holding that process of believing they are the hierarchy of earth. They are the will doers. It doesn't matter if it's a nuclear war, it doesn't matter what it is. What comes to their mind that they feel they need to come into fruition, they will do anything to pull it off because they are led by Satan. Yeah? And it's not a good thing. It's not a good thing. And it's all because we do not have God. We have false religions. We have false prophets. We have clerics. We have people who believe that they read the Bible, yeah, but they have no understanding to the real truth. That's why I keep reincarnating. That's why I'd reincarnate in Buddhism, because those people would at least listen to me when I said we reincarnate, so let's try. Can't get it past your stupidity and all these other things that come up with your daily needs and all your interests and, but I'm an artist, I've got to be famous, Okay, well, when you're all done with that, come back to me and we'll start meditating and see if we can do something with your life. Yeah? And that's really a very big process inside of humanity, that they need to allow love into their life. And it's hard because there's a war that goes on, and the personality keeps love from manifesting. It's its only purpose, is to keep the soul from incarnating. That's the purpose of the personality. And everybody's got a personality. So, hey, what do we expect? Me. I come, I incarnate, I'm not incarnated with a personality. Darn. But I got a great soul, and I have a collective body where I can feel and sense, and through that I can govern. Yeah? But it takes the influence of the collective soul. Every living soul is important. We have to treat them really good. Every living soul. Every one. Every single one. Doesn't matter what race, what creed, where money you got, or whatever's going on. Everybody has to be redeemed from the process. Yeah? And in order to pull that off, it requires the collective body of the soul. Yeah? And that's all through the meditation, the alignment, yeah? Being able to discern, discriminate. That only means that you're going to put the time and energy and to try and use mindfulness and to try and use your ability to see any weaknesses that you've got. Oh, I get angry today, or I said this or that. The main thing is not to come down on yourself. Yeah? But we all do. You get angry, then you go, oh, I'm a shit, I'm never going to be that good, and all these terrible things come out, that have nothing to do with the evolution that you're supposed to be developing. Yeah? Meditation. Yeah? Mindfulness. Yeah? Because you have another dimension. You have another self. Yeah? And you got to be quiet in order to let that self incarnate. Yeah? You got to be mindful to let that self incarnate. Yeah? And it really is not an easy thing, because the other one, you have to let it die. Not self. Yeah? You got to let that one go. And that fights. It's got hunger, it's got disease, it's got a death all planned out, and and it's all afraid, and it's got all this psychic ability to know how they're going to die on many different levels. So I'm telling you, it is a tough one to conquer, is personality. Because it's so drawn into your past life karma and all the shit that's going to come at you. In the soul, we're not like that. In the soul, we dive directly into it. Yeah? The soul is light, pure light, and everything else is dense. And the density needs light. So the soul dives directly into it. Yeah? That's why you need to do mindfulness. That's why you need to do meditation. That's how you dive into it, rather than bounce off of it, and question it, and wonder whether, I don't think that even works. You know, how long is it going to take for something to actually work when you only give a week to it? Yeah? When we don't have patience. These are all virtues we have to develop in our character. That's God. Yeah? And God is everything. And yet, without governing, without the process of Christ, governing our chakras and governing our way of reacting and seeing, having a view. Literally, that's not your view, it's God's view. God changes things, makes things right, clarifies things. But you got to meditate to get that clarity. Yeah? You know, so it's that process that will change anything that we, this process with 9/11, or a process of, all the shit with nuclear power plants and all the, I mean, it's really a very scary scenario. Yeah? But all of it can be transmuted. Every bit of it. There's nothing that we can't transmute. There's nothing we can't change. There's nothing we can't heal. Nature's built that way. God is built that way. He builds it into the system so that everything can eradicate what becomes toxic. Yeah? Well, even radiation, even toxic waste. Yeah? Give ourselves some time. Meditate on it. Focus on it. How can we fix it? Yeah? Don't be afraid of it. Yeah? You will see the vision. God will give you the vision. You will see it, and you will apply it, and it will fix it. And that's governing. That's governing. It's not because Elon Musk is so smart. God is pressuring this earth to do the right thing by giving so many opportunities of wisdom. Yeah? Does that make sense? Because the other side is intellect. The Arabian process, all of that, terrorism and everything, is complete intellect. It's all gone with the wind. It is so lost, it's ridiculous. Yeah? But wisdom will take over, and wisdom overthrows intellect. It completely wipes out hate. Yeah? It awakens. It has a light within it. Yeah? If you can attain wisdom. So that's what the Dharma is about. Teaching in the Dharma is to radiate into every living soul the ability for them to counteract what's going on in the world. And you can go crazy thinking about, oh my God, they're all demonic. All the Arabians and all this and that, and who do you trust? Everybody. Everybody. You just don't get in their face. Just don't travel there. Stay out of it. Sit back. Find your paradise. Live your simple life. And it will radiate out, because we're not being moved by the evil spirit to be attracted to these places to get that karma, to be hit by that energy, to have those events take place in our life. We need to settle down. And then all of a sudden, we don't attract to us the evil of terrorism. Yeah? It changes dramatically. We actually bless countries rather than think of us as the devil. We release them because more Christ gets into their consciousness, just simply by us becoming more Christ-like. But to do that, we have to meditate. We have to live right. We have to simplify. We have to clean this planet up. Yeah? We have to use solar. Get out of oil. Arabia. Yeah? Get out of it. Yeah? Because it is a direct line to what's going to cause all the terrorism and all the problems that we got going on in the world. Yeah? So there's movies coming out and different things coming out about 9/11 and the uncovering of that. Try and check it out. Yeah? Yeah? It's a historical thing. It has lots of good people in it, people who tried hard, people who worked in the CIA and the FBI, and people who went through a lot to try and uncover this thing, while there are other people keeping it from being uncovered. And you could see that in these movies that are being brought out. Yeah, it's not about what happened at the towers and all the dust and all the firemen and all that. That's another movie. But this is about what brought it about. What happened? Who are these people? Why did that happen? Why didn't we stop it? And yet we could have. Yeah? You know, and when that is that close, we really have to search God. Calm down, meditate. You know, because we were just an inch away from not having that happen. What a better world that would have been if there had been no 9/11. Yeah? And what we would have gotten was bin Laden in 1996 when he was offered over to us. Yeah? But because he was bin Laden, because it was an Arabian thing, and everybody didn't want to put him in with a terrorist reality, because we all think that's Afghanistan, Pakistan, all these other places, not Arabia. Yeah? Just having that delusion and carrying that, well, we can't go against the Arabian kings. That process we got to get beyond. We can't do that. We need to be able to judge everybody. Yeah? Subject everybody to judgment. Yeah? And it doesn't matter what the country is. We have the United Nations. We have NATO. We have international laws that can come in and make differences. Yeah, and change things. And we need to move with that consciousness, with our understanding. Through meditation, we foster keeping things safe. You have no idea. Behind the scene, having chakras creates the power of love. And the power of love will stop a war. They will die for you, sacrifice their life for you. They will seek out information no one else is able to find and stop an event from happening. That's love. Love is the only thing that does that. Yeah? So it's through our meditation and through our practice that it then radiates out into these people like CIA, FBI, and others. And cops become better people rather than the people they are. Because it's through our hate, our lack of love, that the people who are supposed to be protecting us and serving us are doing the opposite. And we're in a really bad place because of it. All right, does that make sense? Yeah, all righty-dighty, let's pray. All righty-dighty, very, very Jesus. Okay, just repeat after me. I invoke the power, the love, and the wisdom of your ashram, soul, and monad. I invoke the power, the love, and the wisdom of your ashram, soul, and monad. To guide you into the right activity in the plan. To clarify and stimulate your mind. To transform and transmute my feelings and emotions. To energize and vitalize and heal my physical and etheric body. So there is a normal flow of energy in my physical and etheric body. Through this day and every day, I ask this in the name of the Christ to serve the One. All in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Okay, we're going to do the meditation. I take a body, and we're going to do Om every 10 seconds. I'll lead the Om, and you Om with me. Take a deep breath. I therefore know my mother. I use a body. That body is not me. I serve the group, and in this serving live within the body, detached, a son of God. I know myself. I infuse a body. I am its life, and in that life shall I see life. That life is known as love. I am the love of God. I know the Father, and I know His life is love. I am the body and its loving life. I am the self, whose quality is love. I am the life of God Himself. The Mother, Father, Son, am I. Behind these three stands the unknown God. That God am I. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into the minds of mankind. Let light descend on earth. from the point of love within the heart of God. Let love stream forth into the hearts of mankind. May Christ return to earth. From the center, where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men and women, the purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center, we call the race of mankind. Let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. Let the disciple live in love, and love in light. Applied in the power of creative love. We are born of the love of Father for the Mother, of the desire of life for form. Express the love, the magnetic attractiveness of God's nature, and the responsiveness of form nature, and the I am consciousness itself, of the awareness of deity in life. Okay, just relax. Okay, open your eyes. Okay, so there's a lot just to deal with, in the process of the Dharma. The Dharma has to do with the regulation of the Holy Spirit. It's the allowing of the flow of the Holy Spirit. And it's allowing the actual creation of the Holy Spirit. So that really requires, meditation and all the things that I talk about that redirects energy. That could be your worry, it could be your anxiety, it could be your way you think, and if it's right, if it's in its proper way and you're inside your vehicles, then it automatically creates light, and that light connects to the light that comes from God. So our job is to bring that light from God to earth, to people, to places, to things. And it's not that easy to do, because there's a lot that's going on that we're not aware of. We have no idea that all of this 9/11 stuff has a lot to do with, more things than you can imagine. Even the process of, imagine, we have Bush's father, who is the former president, and he is the one who is connected to bin Laden, the family of bin Laden. On the day before the towers were hit, the former president is at this big meeting. I'll show you. There's this weird money shit that goes on. Whoops. Former President Bush is with the brother of Osama bin Laden on September 10th. September 10th. I mean, I believe there's no such thing as coincidences, and we're all very close to what should be and what isn't. Yeah, and there are forces that make us lucky, that puts us in the right place at the right time, you know. And the forces that are going on right now are putting everybody in the wrong place. And you know, there's this, you know, this Carlisle thing, very rich business, biggest thing in planet Earth meeting, you know, is the Carlisle conference. Yeah, and he's there with Osama bin Laden's brother. Yeah, and his son is president at the time. Yeah, young Bush. You know, so what happens to young Bush on this day that his father is working with the devil? Yeah, young Bush is reading a book to children. Nice guy. He's caught off guard. He has no idea any of this is going on. He's only been president for less than 6 months or 8 months. And he it's not his thing, you know. It's not his thing to be president, you know, but he is. So now he's dealing with it. And on the day it happens, he's reading a book to a little kid. And he's told, like, the tower's going down, you know. And he's going, okay, let me finish reading this book. And then the second tower goes down. And he's, like, really holding it. And there's video. You can actually see video in the entire event of him on the plane, all the things that happened to him during that time. And you would be shocked. But it would give you reason as to why it all had happened. Technology. We are not at the advanced level of technology that allows us to know the truth, share the truth, and give the truth. Yeah? A little bit of texting, a little faxes. That's where we were at the time. Faxes, maybe emails, but mainly PDF faxes. You know, that's how we got our information. So it's not real fast. It's not real clear. What happened to him? He had to get aboard Air Force One and take off and get into safe space, which he come to find out they're after him. That's the next message. They're out after him in airplanes looking for him. So now he's like, oh shit, you know, and his telephone doesn't work. The TV on board the plane doesn't work. Doesn't work. He doesn't get anything. No telephone, no messages to anybody. He's president of the United States. And for 3 hours, he's without communication and no way of being in communication. And he wants to go back to Washington so he can get in communication and be in his team room and be able to do what he needs to do. Yeah. But this is 2000, and we do not have the technology, we do not have the internet, we do not have Wi-Fi, cellular service is not that good. On a plane, you're not going to get the best communication. It's almost impossible. You know, so it was a very bad timing, you know, circumstances, all the things that came together were really not good. And then he gets to Washington. Well, once he gets to Washington, he now has to go down into the bunker. And the bunker has dilapidated communication. You can hardly see the TV properly. You can't really talk with people, communicate properly. Nothing really works down there. You know, so we don't want to be down here. And after 4 hours and all the people in that room, the oxygen was gone and people started passing out. This is real reality. This is the President of the United States dealing with 9/11. He's passing out in a room because there's a lack of oxygen. There's just, no one has any understanding of shit anything, you know? Condoleezza Rice is like, you know, I can take care of it, you know, and she's not. And things aren't getting taken care of. Nothing's getting taken care of. Because mainly they do not have the control over the Holy Spirit. They do not, it hasn't advanced yet to communication levels. And that's what we need. Communication, open communication, instant communication, video communication, on-board communication, on-site communication, drone communication. That's what I've created since the year 2000. I created communication on every level. And people can get afraid of it because I created this other forms of communication where we can tap into every frickin' telephone, every text message, and every email. And I personally don't give a shit if you care. Really. I want the computer on and operating, and I want it running until we clean this thing up, until we can investigate and see, wow, they really are creating nuclear bombs over there in the Arabian, and they're coming over through London, and they're coming into our Canadian border, and they come down into that, and there are all these, holy shit, that would pay off. And we're doing it ever since Obama. I got this thing established during the Obama period. That's how we got bin Laden. That's how we killed bin Laden. That's how we found everything, is by me establishing communications and the Holy Spirit. So that changes things. But if you have a president, now here we had a president at the time who was a former president in league with Arabia and in league with Saddam Hussein, not Saddam Hussein, bin Laden, yeah? So that process, really colored how it is we're going to deal with information coming over the air during the time that he was president, which is back in the 90s. Yeah. So that's when all the information was squashed. All the things got wrong because he was squashing any Arabian process that had to do with terrorism. He wouldn't allow it to be communicated. He wouldn't allow it to come together. He wouldn't allow that form of information to come into play. So when you got someone in charge and they fire all all your CIA heads and, just like Trump did, there is a special interest thing going on, a cover-up, a special interest thing going on. And we are in deep danger when that happens. Look what happened with Trump, We find out that Russia is paying people to kill Americans in the military. We find that out. It was going on in the back. It's happening. We are losing guys. It's really happening. But since he has special interests, he will not talk to the guy. And since Bush had special interest with Arabia, he would not talk with them. But he would invite, the family into his office and into meetings and go on vacations maybe. Because the affiliation, special interest, is there. Has nothing to do with him caring for America or being the president or, helping, the future of the world. It was special interest. And that kept all that information. That's where the evil spirit comes in. Because the evil spirit has a lot to do with special interest. It's an illusion. Yeah? And then everybody who you put tattoos on, you do all this stuff, there is a special interest in the process of getting you to do that. That way they can make you into an idiot. They can make you into a puppet and laugh at you and watch you and see your whole life be ruined. Your future work, your future looking at yourself in the mirror, your future soul is blocked off because you have imprinted yourself as a personality. And you can't get beyond it until you freaking die. Till you die. And the only way you can do it is long sleeve shirts, long pants, and not see it. Because it's in not seeing it, it doesn't affect the chakras. As long as you keep yourself from seeing it, being affiliated in it. If you block it out, your soul will start coming back. Yeah. That's the process. That's what mindfulness is. That's what meditation is. That's what all those things are for. So even if you got the tattoos, even if you got a bad mother, even if you married the wrong guy, focus. Focus and you'll find your way out. You'll find, okay, I like long sleeve shirts. And I will trust in laser technology that will burn off, all my tattoos. I'll trust it. I'll try it. I will work for it. Even though everybody that has tattoos around me, are not going to be my friends anymore. And that really affects what's in the solar plex, but not in the heart. Yeah. So we really have to work that process where everything that we've fallen into that makes us more a personality, yeah, that we can actually dissolve that, find ways to dissolve it. And it's the Holy Spirit. It's the evil spirit that gets us into it, attaches us to it, and it sticks to us. It's a curse. It's a spell. And we can't get rid of it. You know, it's a curse. Yeah. But you can get rid of a curse if you follow these instructions. You can do it. Yeah. Yeah. So good luck to you all.